All right, guys, so this is the Dremel Portable Saw Station. All right, so once you open your station, you're going to see a mini circular saw with a 3 3/8 inch multi-material blade. Now, this circular saw comes with an Allen wrench that you can use to remove or replace your blade. You just stick it in the arbor right there. It is cordless. It comes with a 12-volt battery, and you can just take it off just like that. This is the battery charger, and you can just plug it in. This is a 2x4 cutting guide. Just slide it out. And then to put it back, you just want to slip one end in under here like this. This is a dust adapter. You attach this end to this hole right here on your circular saw. And then you would attach a hose right here, or just position it where the dust blows away from you. Now, if you lift these sides up like that and like that, you see some more accessories. These are the bevel risers, and this is just a plug to keep it in place while it's being stored. You have 2 clamps, one here and one here. Then you have your workpiece support in case your workpiece extends beyond your workstation and it needs support. That's what this is for. And these are the storage plugs to keep your workpiece in place when it's in storage. So you just take your storage plugs out, then you can take it out. And this right here is your edge guide. Now, once you're familiar with all the accessories and where they go, take your hand and place it on the bottom edge of each work surface and pull. Now you have a complete work surface. Now these are your table slots. These silver slots right here. This is where you place your clamps into in case you need to clamp something down. For example, you'll take one of your clamps, slide it in right here like that. That's how the slots look from another perspective. So you would just take your clamp, which is made of metal, and notice these tabs on them. And you just take it and slide it in, just like that. And then position them wherever you need them. Now these are the guide tracks for your circular saw. This right here is the miter guide. If you want to adjust the miter guide to a particular angle, say 15 degrees, 30 degrees, or 45 degrees, you just loosen this knob right here. Don't loosen it too much. You don't want it to come out. Right now it's on 0. But all you have to do after you loosen the knob is turn it to 15, 30, or 45, or any increment in between those numbers or degrees. This red box is shaped like an arrow right here, and that's where you would align your number. So right now it's on 0, 15, 30, etc. Now you can adjust your miter up to 45 degrees in either direction. So you can go the other way. Good thing about this work surface is that it has rulers all over it. You have one here, goes up to 11 inches. You have one all the way across, and you have one on this side as well. You also have these reference marks for your miter cuts. They represent the more common angles that you would cut. So you have 15 degrees. If you want to cut a 15-degree miter, then you have a 22.5-degree miter. You have a 30-degree miter, and you have a 45-degree miter. So if you're going to cut any of these angles, they're ready-made for you. You just have to place your workpiece on the line and place them against the fence of the miter guide and then cut. All right, so before you start cutting or doing anything with your portable saw station, you have these alignment buttons right here. One here and one here. You first need to press these down and rotate them so they won't get in the way of your workpiece when you're installing them into the table. So you just press it down and rotate it, and it'll stay in just like that. You don't want to over rotate it, just a little bit, and it'll stay down. Now you can use an Allen wrench or Allen key to do the same thing. The same Allen key that comes with your saw. It's probably easier with this. So you press it in, twist a little bit, and it'll stay in. That's all you need to do. Otherwise, they're going to stick up and get in the way of your workpiece. And when you're done, just twist again and just let it up. All right, so let's talk about our circular saw a little more. Here we have the trigger switch right here, but you need to release the lock off release button before you're able to engage the trigger. So you just push this down. This is the lock off release button. Otherwise, you can't use it. And obviously that's just for safety. So as you can see, you have the button on both sides. So just push it down when you want to engage the trigger. This right here is the foot of the circular saw. And you want to insert the circular saw on this track first by inserting the right side of it, just like that. And then resting this side on this track here. And then you just slide it up as you cut. Want to take it out? Just pull. So you want to make sure that you press slightly to the right with the saw to make sure that this side of the saw is stabilized on this guide right here. So when you're cutting, make sure that you press slightly to the right to make sure that you're stabilizing the saw as you cut. Remember this edge guide? Well, this is the slot for the edge guide. You just take the edge guide here and you slip it in like that. And if you want to extend it further in, you may have to loosen this knob right here. Otherwise, it's going to block it from going any further. So, and then once you decide how far you want to go in, you just tighten this knob here. And then you just take your workpiece, butt it up against the fence of the edge guide, and cut. So you get a nice, even rip cut. This right here is the lower guard. This is the handle for the lower guard to retract it or lift it up. And as you cut, it's gonna move up anyway. Now this is very important, as with all circular saws. This is the depth adjustment knob. This allows you to set the blade depth. This is the depth scale here. Has inches on one side and millimeters on the other. So right now it's set at the maximum depth, which is about 1 inch. But if you want to make it shallower, you just loosen the depth adjustment knob right here. And you just hold on to the foot and you pull it up to whatever measurement you want to pull it up to. Let's just say 1/2 inch. Once you get to 1/2 inch, that's going to be your depth of cut. Once again, this is your battery pack. And if you want to release the battery pack, you got to depress the sides of it to pull it out. Now it also has an alignment laser, and that's this right here. And you activate it by pressing this button here. This is the battery charge indicator. It tells you how much power you have left in your battery. And right up front here, we have the bevel scale if you want to do bevel cuts. And all you have to do is loosen the bevel adjustment knob to set it at whatever bevel angle you want to set it at. This button right here is the shaft lock button. This is like the spindle lock button on most saws. When you want to remove or replace your blade, you have to make sure that the spindle or the shaft is locked in place before you can take it off. Otherwise, it'll just spin along with your arbor key, or in this case, an Allen wrench. So you want to press this button down, the shaft lock button, when you're removing your blade or replacing your blade or installing your blade. And you got the dust port here. This notch right here is the cutting guide line notch. When you're cutting, you can just follow this notch here to make sure that you're on track. Right here, you have the laser rotation adjustment screw in case you need to adjust the laser rotation. You would use a hex-headed screw for this or an Allen wrench. And then right here, you have the laser offset adjustment screw. That takes a Phillips screwdriver. All right, so remember we talked about the alignment laser. It's good to have all of that, but that's just for reference. You want to make sure that you know exactly where you want to cut. So you want to take something like a speed square. And in this case, we're just going to draw a straight line because we're going to do a through cut with this piece of wood. So we mark our line. Then we want to insert our workpiece underneath the guide racks for the saw. And then we want to butt it up against the fence of the miter guide. And then we want to install the saw into the guide racks. We're going to start off with the right side of the foot of the saw first. And it tells you right here to insert the saw here. So we're going to insert that side in first, like that. And then we're just going to rest this side onto this guide here, like that. Now, if you notice that notch we spoke of earlier, the alignment notch, there's 0 on this side and 45 on this side. The corner right here on the 0 side, if you bring it up to your mark, like that, where your mark is touching the corner, that should align it exactly with the blade. But once again, these are just references. You want to make sure that you look at the blade and make sure that it's landing on the mark. And again, you always want to check the thickness of your material against your blade depth. So if you want to make a through cut or cut right through your material, make sure that the blade is able to do that. So make sure the blade is at its deepest setting, place it against your material, and make sure that it's deeper than the thickness of the material. Now, if we turn on our laser, the laser lands there as well, but always make sure that you look and see if your blade lands where it needs to land, just in case the laser's off or something else is off. Now that you got everything aligned, you can clamp your workpiece down. You don't want to tighten it down too much though. Make sure that the blade is at full speed before you contact your material. Right here, guys, is the stop for the guides. So the saw can't go any further. If it does, it'll cut into the miter guide. So that's why they have these stops right here. It's a nice clean cut. So let's just say we want to do a 30-degree miter cut. So we're going to adjust our miter guide and bring it all the way down to 30 degrees. Then we're going to tighten the knob. Then we're going to insert our workpiece. Bring our clamps up. We can really just use one clamp for this because I'll be holding down this side. And there's your 30-degree miter cut. Well, what about these bevel risers? What are they for? We have 2 of them. Well, you're going to need them if you're going to make a through cut all the way through your material at a bevel that's greater than 30 degrees. So if we set the bevel on our saw at an angle that's greater than 30 degrees, let's go ahead and do that. That's 30 right there, so we need to go a little bit above that. Tighten it. Now on the underside of each bevel riser, you have these tabs here. We're not going to look at the big ones. We're going to look at the small ones. Those are going to go into these holes here on the work surface. You have one here, and underneath the rail here, you have another one. Can't see it, I'm sure. Then you have one here, and you have one here. So you want to place these small round tabs into those holes right there. Okay, so we're going to put one here. And they're just going to lock in place. We're going to do the same for this one on this side. Put that there. And then the other one is going to go here. All right, so we have a piece of material that's thin enough to get between the guides and the risers. Let's go ahead and clamp it down. and there's your greater than 30-degree bevel cut. Now, if you're going to make a 45-degree bevel cut, you want to make sure that the line you draw on your workpiece for the bevel cut lines up with the corner on your notch that says 45 degrees. Let's adjust our bevel all the way to 45 degrees. It's all the way to the end. You want to make sure that this mark lines up with the corner of the 45 side. And that's your 45-degree cut. And woodworkers, this is also good for creating those dados when you need to. There you have a dado.